lovers, how are you guys doing today? So I'm super excited for this video because I kind of have like a new series idea in my head. Hopefully this comes out the way that I want it to. Before I jump into everything, I just have to make this disclaimer. If you notice that my face is very tan and my hands are white, my shoulders white, I'm testing out a lightest shade of a foundation today, which is too dark. So I tried to blend it all the way down my neck and everything, but if I'm like talking and swatching and you notice like how white my hands are in comparison to my face, that's why. So the title of this series is going to be You Already Own It, and then the product probably going to stick more to palettes. But my idea was that I feel like there's so many things that are coming out on the market. They get super hyped, everyone's using them, doing beautiful tutorials, talking about how good it is, and you kind of forget what's already in your collection. So I kind of thought I'm going to do new product, which I don't own because I'm not buying, that's the whole point of this series, versus what I have that I think would substitute for it. And I know people do videos like this and I love them, where they sit down and they dupe out the entire palette and they do like the single eyeshadow pans, which is great if you just want one shade or two shades, or you're kind of looking if you already have those shades in your collection. But I feel like that can get pricey to do the individual shade, like every single little eye single, especially if they're like $5, $4 each, it adds up very quickly. So I thought if I have palettes that have similar color schemes that I'm like, they're popular, most people know about them, you already own it. And I feel like the palette today, like, you already own it. Almost everyone already owns this palette. So today we're going to be comparing the KKW Beauty x Mario palette, which just looks like this. It is beautiful, so pretty, just all neutrals, and then a really beautiful pop of cobalt blue. And then the palette that I wanted to do the comparison with is the Jaclyn Hill x Morphe palette, which is actually only a few dollars cheaper. But like I said, most people have this, and you guys, this is the look that literally like 100% of YouTubers who got the KKW x Mario palette are doing right now. Like the blown out blue all over the lid, some nice brown shades in the crease. So I'm gonna go through the shades that I think are similar and swatch them for y'all and just give you an idea of why I think that they're dupes, or not dupes, they're really good alternatives. So the very first shade in the KKW palette is a very beautiful light shimmering highlighter shade, and to dupe that today, I'm just gonna go ahead and say this shade in the Jaclyn Hill palette, it is beautiful. Oops. And it's a beautiful shimmer, beautiful hair highlighting, and that's what I used for the inner corner and the brow bone today. I just think it's beautiful. It has some nice gold undertones to it, so it works for a variety of skin tones. So I'm just gonna go ahead and swatch it on my arm here. So there's what that looks like. So just a nice highlighting shade. I feel like even if this isn't the perfect one in comparison, like I said, I don't have the two palettes, so I can't sit here and nitpick the differences, but I feel like this shade is so easily duped. Like, tell me you don't already have a highlight shade. So the next shade in the palette is kind of like a light bronzy shade, but it's a little bit more on the neutral side. I originally swatched this one, I thought would be a close dupe, but whenever I swatched it on my arm, it looked very warm, so I think I'm going to go over to this shade right here. It did leave a little bit of a stain, but I'm just going to swatch over it. Not really a huge deal. This shade, hopefully, is more similar. So that's not like 100% the same color or anything, but I think you can still get a super similar look with that. And then the next shade is like a transition warm brown, and I don't know if it's just me, but from swatches and everything, it looks like it has a little bit more of like that camel color to it. So I think I'm going to go ahead and use this one right here, swatch that in comparison. Obviously the Jaclyn Hill palette has like 800 browns, so yeah, I feel like that one looks super similar to the KKW one. But either way, there's something in here, whatever transition you need. And then the next shade is a super pretty gold, and the only gold in the Jaclyn Hill palette is this one right here. It's a little bit more on the bronzy side, but it is really pretty regardless. So I'm just going to swatch that one in comparison. The one in the KKW palette is just like a slightly lighter gold, but if you wanted that look, you could totally just mix this in with the highlight shade. See, it's like a bronzy gold. And last but not least, for the top row is a super dark brown, and it appears to be a little bit more on the cooler side. So I'm gonna go from this brown right here. It's just a nice dark, cool tone brown. So if my camera's not in the exact same position, my battery died. But the very first shade in the second row of the KKW palette is a matte bone shade. That is not in the Jaclyn Hill palette. There's nothing similar. There's no matte highlighting shades, which is unfortunate. That's like the one thing that I feel like is missing. But also it is such a dupeable shadow. And it even depends on your skin tone of which, like, how dark or light you need it. So even though I don't have a shade to compare for that one, I feel like everyone already has that in their collection, like everybody. Or you can even just use your face setting powder. That's what I did today. So moving on from that shade, which I do not have a dupe for, the next shade is a really pretty red matte shade. And I went ahead and used this red shade today. If that's a little bit too warm for you, I feel like this one right here is just a touch darker, and you could use that one too if you wanted, or you could mix them together. But I really like warm red, so I just went ahead and used that one, and look how pigmented that is. The next shade in the KKW palette is a dark purple, and it does have just a touch of shimmer in it, which from what the videos I've seen so far, I think people would have preferred for that shade to have been matte. Not that many people use a very, very dark shimmery shade on a daily basis. I personally would. I've kind of gotten out of my comfort zone, and I do like using shimmers in the crease now, just as long, it just depends on what shade they are, whether they work or not for me. But for that shade, I don't have a perfect color because it is shimmer, but this purple right here is super deep and very beautiful. It's a matte purple. So I feel like you could get a similar look with this if you're just using it in your crease or your outer V. And if you want to have a shimmery purple, super easy. Just take this purple and mix in just a touch of the metallic purple here, and you can get the same exact look. I'm not going to swatch them together just for swatching's sake, but you could definitely do that if you care and you want like a slightly shimmery dark purple. Like, that's so easy. You can mix shades together all the time. You can take what you have and make it something new. But today I just used the matte purple on my lower lash line, and I feel like overall, like if you were doing a matte purple or a shimmer purple that has just a touch of shimmer like on the lower lash line, like it's not even that big of a deal. See, here's what it looks like. Actually, you know what, because I'm feeling a little crazy, I am just going to take my finger and just dip a little bit in the dark purple, and we could just mix that into the swatch, because you can do that on your eye super easy. And voila, I feel like that's a super similar shade. So the next shade in the KKW palette is the one definitely getting the most hype. It is a beautiful metallic cobalt blue shimmer, just gorgeous. I love that shade. And the thing that's the most obvious one to dupe here, right here, is the metallic cobalt blue in the Jaclyn Hill palette. And I feel like this shade has just a touch of purple undertone. I think you can kind of see on my eyes. I don't know if I'm crazy. I feel like I see just a little bit of purple, but overall for the look, I feel like it looks super, super similar. I'm going to do a second layer on that just to build it up. I'm literally wiping all my swatches on my pants. So the last shade in the palette is a beautiful, super deep bronzy shade. I feel like I've got two options here in the Jaclyn Hill palette. So there is this one right here, which is a beautiful bronze. Love it. I think that one's the one I'm going to swatch in comparison. But if you want something with less, I feel like this is just a touch warm. If you want more of a brown bronze, a more neutral undertone, you could definitely skip on over to this one right here, which is actually super pretty. It has little sparkles in it. So I feel like either of those, or you can mix them together, would give you a very similar look. I'm pretty sure I used this bronze shade in my look today, I think. Or I used the gold. I can't remember what I used. But I have one of those shades on my lower lash line. You'll see in a minute when I insert the demo. Oh yeah, that is a super pretty bronze shade. That looks... So the only shade out of my alternatives I'm not happy with is this second one right here. I feel like it's a little too pink. The actual palette is more golden, and I'm like swatching other shades just seeing if there's anything I feel like it's better. You also have this option here. This is more of a cool tone shade. You could mix that in with the gold. I think I'm going to swatch that cool tone one and the gold together and see what that looks like on the back of my hand. Yeah, that could be a little closer to that shade. If you mix that silvery and the gold together, it's probably a better alternative for this one. So here is the final comparison swatches of the Jaclyn Hill palette. I'm really happy I did this because I feel like it looks super similar, super beautiful. You can get the same exact looks using the Jaclyn Hill palette if you already own it, and even if you don't, I'm partial to the Jaclyn Hill palette because I love it. I love the formula. You can get it on Ulta, you can get free shipping, you can get it for 10% off all the time on the actual Morphe website. Like, you can use whatever affiliate code you want to use. There's so many, like, I feel like it's just more accessible, it's more affordable. KKW Beauty shipping is $9. Like, that's just absolutely crazy to me. Like, you know they're making extra money off shipping. So really quickly, let's just go ahead and jump on into the demo.
I fell for fools gold, I fell for fools gold. What did I know? What did I know? And you were fool's gold. Yes, I did. For love, yes, I did it all for love. Oh, they say fools believe in it, so I guess I'm one of them. Oh, don't you know? I fell for fools gold, I fell for fools gold. What did I know? What did I know? I fell for fools gold, I fell for fools gold. What did I know? What did I know? And you were fool's gold. Yes, I did.
So that is everything for this video. If you guys like this series idea, please let me know. I'd love to hear your feedback and your thoughts. And I think that's everything. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.